Welcome to Burger Knits. I'm Claire and this is my first YouTube video. I've thought about doing a YouTube video for a while. I tried TikTok, but I decided I wanted to do something maybe a bit longer. So I've been knitting for a year and 9 months, a year and 8 months maybe. Originally I planned to do a video last January maybe, of everything that I'd knit in a year. So I started knitting January 2023 and I was going to film a video January 2024 and that didn't happen. I ended up moving house and starting a new work project and things, so here we are 7 months later. I just want to kind of show everything that I've knit. Well, not everything. I'm going to leave some stuff out because the video would be far too long. But a lot of my favourite things that I've knit, a lot of my recent knits, and just talk through them. So the first thing I ever knit, which is probably a lot of people's first projects, is this scarf. So it was from a YouTube tutorial. I'll maybe link it down below if I can find it. It was supposed to be like a chunky scarf and I just chose the total wrong yarn for it. I don't even know what weight the yarn was. I can't remember what the yarn was. But yeah, no, I thought it was a good first project. I knit it on straight needles and my arms were like, I think it was my shoulders, were killing me by the end of it. So I switched to circulars a while after that and haven't looked back. There are a few holes and things. I don't know if you can see that. So definitely not perfect, but I thought it was really cute. Maybe I'll give a scarf another go, but scarves are, it just takes so long and it's so repetitive, so I don't know. But that was the first thing I ever knit and that was January 2023 and it probably took me a couple of weeks. So after that I moved on to like a couple of pairs of socks and things, like slipper socks that weren't great. And then I knit this hat that I actually really love. It's I can't remember what the yarn is either. This was all before I had Ravelry, so I didn't really keep track of anything. But it's the Soft and Cushy hat by Pearl Soho, which is a free pattern. I don't think it tells you to add the pom-pom, but I did. I just think it's a really cute little winter beanie. It is, I have folded this twice because it is a massive, what do you call this part? I don't know. It is massive, so I do fold it twice, but I think it's really, really cute and I'm gonna definitely knit more beanies hopefully for this winter. After that, I think I tried my first jumper, which was the Step by Step sweater by Florence Miller. So I have it here. I'm trying to see if you can see it. Freshly washed. So this, I did it in the recommended yarn. Again, I have my Ravelry here. I hadn't logged this on Ravelry. Yeah, I hadn't logged it on Ravelry, so I can't remember exactly what colour yarns I went for. I think one was called Chalk and then this one was just like a minty bluey green kind of one. It was really similar to the colours she has in her sample photos and it is the exact same yarn, but I thought this was really, really nice. It's nice and like thick. It's just like a really nice like all-rounder jumper. So that was the first jumper I ever knit. I actually knit that pattern twice. I did this one as well, which has got the like folded collar. So the first one was the funnel neck collar, which you can see, which I wasn't so keen on because I felt like it kind of scratched my neck a wee bit. So I made a fluffy like green one with a folded collar, also freshly washed. This one is on my Ravelry, so I only knit this one maybe a few months ago. It is on my Ravelry. I'll link my Ravelry down below if anybody wants to look at it. And this one was knit with Garn Studio Drops Air and Drops Kid Silk held together. So it was really, really thick. To be honest, I don't think I needed the Kid Silk. I think Drops Air by itself would have been totally fine because it was already so fluffy, and that's what I wanted, was a nice fluffy jumper. I knit this one a lot bigger actually. I wanted a lot more room in it, so it was kind of oversized, and I think it is quite like, oh, you can't even see. I think it is quite nicely oversized. I'm just holding it up here, but that's where it comes to. So yeah, I do really like the Florence Miller pattern. I think that's a great start for somebody learning to knit jumpers. I realised I just lied there, actually. That wasn't the first jumper I knit. The first jumper I knit, so I discovered, I think you pronounce it like Hobbii, the Hobbii website. They sell a lot of yarn, and they also have patterns on there, and whenever you pick a pattern and pick the size, it like tells you how much yarn you need, what needles you need, what notions you need and everything, and it just is like, you can add it all to your bag if you want. So I knit this jumper, actually it was my first jumper, which is the Ronnie sweater. It has like a folded turtleneck as well, which again is really big. I don't know why I keep knitting turtleneck jumpers when they kind of scratch my neck. But this one, you can fold it like twice and it still looks really nice. Can't remember what size I knit this in. I feel like it was just like a small or something. Realised whenever I finished it that I had tons and tons of yarn left over, and it was just slightly too small, so I did block this thinking, oh, blocking will help. I hadn't done a gauge swatch or anything. The arms were perfect, they were great, but the length of it was too short and it was also just too tight in the body. So I ended up like April, May time, going back, cutting this and ripping it all the way back to pretty much like just below the armpits and re-knitting it, adding in increases. I think it was like four increases per round, every 8 or 10 rounds, and just re-knit it again, and it didn't take too long at all because it's so thick. It's 3 different yarns held together, so it's like Hobbii's yarns. If you look at the pattern on the website, it'll tell you, but there's like a mohair one, and then I think it's called like, no, I don't even want to guess what it's called, but it's like quite a nice like thick yarn, and you hold like a black one and a white one is what I did, and then like a kind of silvery mohair. So yeah, it's a really nice very wintry jumper. Haven't got too much wear out of it this year. I had it sitting in my pile to wash for ages and ages, and then I finally washed it again with everything else last week, so it's ready for, it's going to be put away, and I'll probably bring it out again in like 2 months time. After that I gave socks a bash, and I love knitting socks just because I love sock yarn. I feel like you can get so many really beautiful colours in sock yarn. So I found a pattern by Summerlee Designs called I'm So Basic, the I'm So Basic socks, which I've knit, I want to say like 5 times. So this is the first sock I ever knit with the I'm So Basic pattern. I've worn it a lot, like I can't tell, oh, it's not focusing. No, it won't focus. I don't know if you can see, but there's like all these little fluffy bits coming off. I really need to like shave it. But yeah, I used 2 different yarns from Hobbii for this one as well. Can't remember what they were called. This one is definitely like a cotton one, and then the main one, let me check Ravelry. No, I didn't put this one on Ravelry either. This was before I knew about it. Yeah, it was just like a really basic sock yarn, and then like a cotton sort of plain like single colour yarn for the heel and the toe and the cuff. But yeah, I loved it. It is a little bit too small. I wish I knit the fit part of it slightly longer, especially now that it's ever so slightly felted. Yeah, I just have to like really stretch them when I'm putting them on, but they do still fit. So those are the first socks I knit. And there's the other one. They don't really look like socks right now because they've been like folded up in my cupboard there for a long time because I haven't worn these in a while. Yeah, so I knit that pattern a few times. I cast it on a pair because I was going on holiday and I just wanted something easy to knit. This one here, I just picked up this yarn. I think it's the same actual contrast colour as the last pair, but the main colour I picked up in like a local yarn shop, and I really don't like it because it's so thick and just feels weird, and I'm not too keen on the pattern it's done. So yeah, I don't wear these ones too much, but same pattern, slightly shorter cuff, and it fits a lot better, or not cuff, sorry, slightly shorter leg, and it fits a lot better on the foot. Then I got my first nice sock yarn after that, which was from Dye Candy, who is a yarn dyer in Northern Ireland, which is where I live. This one's called Cherry Bomb. I hope you can't see how dirty it is on the bottom of these socks. So yes, I just used like I think it was the same yarn that I'd use for the cuff here, just I got it in white as well. It's just like a cotton sock yarn too, and then Cherry Bomb by Dye Candy. So this is like one of those, what is it, 75-25 merino nylon or something, I want to say. And these are my favourite socks ever, and probably my favourite piece of knitwear ever. So I did slightly alter the pattern. You can see here hopefully that I've done like a picot edge. So instead of doing the cuff on those socks is knit 2 purl 1. This one I just knit like 10 rows or something, and then did my picot little row, which is like a yarn over and a knit 2 together or something, and it creates these little holes, and then you just like fold it over, knit 10 more, and then like knit it together. So yeah, I really like that. I will definitely be doing this cuff again because I just think it's really, really cute. And yeah, these ones fit so good and they get the most wear, and I'm kind of regretting knitting the contrast part in white because of how dirty they are on the bottom, which I'm not going to show. So yeah, same pattern again for these ones. I just edited it slightly, which is the first time I'd ever veered away from a pattern. And then yeah, here's another pair. I just did these with, this is Drops Fable Tex-Mex, and just like a black cotton one as well. So these are very, very Halloweeny, and they fit really nicely too. I also knit my boyfriend a pair with Drops Fable. Can't remember what the colour was, but it was like I think it might have been Salt and Pepper or something, which I don't have right now because they're in the wash. And I'm currently knitting my dad a pair with, it's actually not the exact same pattern, because I'm using the one from her book, which is like, it's like the basic sock, like one of the first basic socks in Summer Lee's book. Let me get the socks. Sorry if I'm sitting slightly differently, my legs were dead sitting like that. So yes, the pattern that I'm knitting for my dad, I got Summer Lee's The Sock Project book. One of the like basic sock patterns at the very start is really, really similar to her I'm So Basic socks. It just gives you a couple of different options for the cuff, but I think everything else in the pattern is the same. So I stuck with the same cuff that I always have done, which is the knit 2 purl 1 ribbing. And I'm knitting my dad a pair of socks for his birthday, which I need to finish in a week's time. So I've done one. This is Drops Fable again. I can't remember what this one is called. What I had done is I was planning on knitting my boyfriend's socks, and I bought 2 balls of what I thought were the same yarn. One of them was Salt and Pepper, and one of them is this one, which I can't remember what it is. But it's slightly bluer. Like his ones are very like black and white and grey. And this one, obviously you can see there's like kind of like, hopefully you can see in the light, like blue bits and things. So yeah, I didn't do a contrast cuff or heel or toe or anything on these. I just thought I would do them all in one yarn, which is really nice. It's self-striping anyway, so I think it's turned out really, really good. And I am just starting the leg. I just started the leg yesterday on the second one, so I've got a good bit more to go. And then I'll be moving on to the heel. And then just blasting through them. So they need to be done in a week, and I want to block them. I don't really block my socks too much, but I want to block these ones. And then another pair of socks which I knit were the embossed leaves, I think they're called. Let me find it. Yeah, embossed leaves. So I heard about these from Midsummer Knits, who had knit this pattern. I did it in this really nice kind of purpley yarn with like little other bits through it. Hopefully you can see on camera, I don't know. So yeah, whenever you put them on, the pattern does make it look like leaves. Let me put my hand on it, in it, and try and show you. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, it looks like little leaves. There's it's kind of like I think it's lace knitting. I don't know what qualifies as lace, but it's very there's like little holes and things through it. It really reminds me of like socks I used to wear in like primary school. But yeah, this was a fun pattern. This yarn is really, really nice and really, really soft. It's the yarn was Symphony Yarns Terra in the colour Valentine. Definitely would recommend. I have a lot left over, so I definitely wouldn't mind knitting with that yarn again, but it was a very cute little socks. So yeah, that's all my socks. I have also knit from Summerlee's book. I've also knit the Scrimshaw socks. That's really hard to say. Scrimshaw socks. And I did it in very similar colours to what she had knit hers in the book. So it's like white all over, with blue, blue for the colour work part. Yeah, they're very nice and Christmassy. I was wearing them yesterday, so they are in the wash and they're probably absolutely stinking, so I don't want to get them out. Anyway, that's the majority of the socks I've knit. So speaking of like colour work, the first colour work project I really did, if you exclude stripes in a jumper, were these mittens. So these are from the like Drops Design website. And they're called Christmas claps. I did notice there's a couple of different versions of the pattern, like there's like numbers after it, and there were slightly different numbers, but they looked the exact same. So Christmas claps, it's free on the website, because obviously they do recommend that you use Drops yarn. So this one, these were the Christmas claps 233-21. It was Drops Charisma was the yarn for this, so I used the colour white just for the white parts. You can see the other side, what it looks like too. And moss green for the like background colour. So yeah, these are very, very cute. I haven't got to wear them too much, but I did knit two of my friends' matching ones, which I think is very cute. I'm very proud of these. I actually did have to knit. I knit one whole mitten and then I had to like undo it because it was just too tight, and I just didn't want to give up yet. I should have given up when I first tried them on and realised they were too tight, but I kept going. Let that be a lesson. So other jumpers I've knit, I really wanted a nice fluffy like kind of open sort of neck blue one, which I knit here. This one was very early on as well. I haven't got it on Ravelry, I think, but it is a pattern from Drops Design too. Cannot remember what I knit this in. Not too keen on it. You knit it, I can't remember how much you seam up, but you definitely seam up the arms to the body. Maybe you knit the body in the round and attach the arms separately or something, but yeah, I didn't do a very good job with seaming. I don't know if you can see there, but it's really bad like here, so I've worn this maybe a couple of times. I've just, yeah, when I was seaming, I noticed how bad it was. I was like, oh, I'll just keep my hair over it, but it's really, really bad. Yeah, definitely practice your seaming on something before you take it to your knitting. I knit this jumper as well, which is on my Ravelry, so this is another free pattern, and it is the Arabian, it's called. So it was one from it was like Rowan, like do you know the Rowan yarns you get? It was a pattern by them. I can't remember where I found it, but it is on my Ravelry if you're looking for it. I knit it in a really similar colour as well to the sample pictures, although the yarn I was looking for have been discontinued. So I knit this in Mayflower Easy Care Merino, and the colour was wine red. Took me a long time to do it. I remember there's very nice cables up at the where the sleeve joins the body, which was, oh, I had a piece of fluff on it, which was fun to do. Sorry, I've got fluff all over this jumper. Yeah, fun to do. Not too keen on the neckline. I wish it was thicker. Maybe you could always like knit double and fold it down or something like that, but it's done and I'm not going to undo it. But it's very nice, kind of like, it makes me think of Christmas just because of the colour of it. But it is quite nice and light, so it's a good one for like wearing to work or something, if your office is roasting like mine is sometimes. This is one where it's knit, I think you knit the front and the back and the arms all separately and seam it up, and I practiced my seaming before doing this because I really didn't want it to turn out the same as the blue jumper, and I think I did a good job, so it looks a lot tidier. Let me just pick all the fluff off this. Hopefully you can see, but the seam is like, I'm like pushing my finger underneath it. You can see it from this side. Oh, I think you could see it from the other side. But yeah, I think it is a lot neater. You would have to like look to see that it's been seamed up, because you nearly can't tell. So I'm really proud with really proud of the job I did on the seaming on this one. I also knit a sweater vest, so this is another one from Hobbii. It's huge. It's called the Queen of Hearts sweater vest. So yeah, you just knit like, I think it's intarsia for the different squares, and then you go back and just like duplicate stitch in little hearts. You can see here. You can see on the inside, I did not know how to do duplicate stitch and then weave in the ends after doing the duplicate stitch, because every time I tried, with how thick this yarn is, it was like popping through. So this was an early one. I think I remember doing this in about June 2023, so 6 months into knitting. Yeah, got a lot of improvements to make. And also the neckline doesn't match up the way the stitches sit before the actual like the little striped neckline. There's one where you can see like this side, you can see a row of like knit stitches, and this one you can't see it so much. Yeah, whoops. So that one's a free one from Hobbii called Queen of Hearts vest, and it was knit with like a super chunky, or maybe just chunky yarn from Hobbii that I can't remember the name of, but it's on their website. Coming to the end here, so I knit this jumper as well, which is a big, very big striped jumper, and it is the Ralph Zippy jumper, which I just found on Ravelry. I think it was like by a girl who didn't have like too many patterns or anything, but I just really wanted, my dog's barking, I'll keep going, I don't know if you can hear him. Yeah, I just really wanted a like a nice striped jumper with a zip in it. I'd seen Petite knit patterns with like the same kind of neckline as this but no stripes, and I wanted a pattern to tell me when to do the stripes. So big huge zip that I put in, that I'm very proud that I didn't mess up putting the zip in. But yeah, this pattern, it calls for, whenever you do the stripes, I think it's about like 3 different colours for the actual stripes. There's like a main colour and then like 2 other little colours that you do like a row or 2 of each. But I just wanted to do 2 colours, so I did like this little contrast sort of cuff thing here. Annoyingly, whenever I was doing the body of it though, like finishing the body, it told me to do Italian bind off, which I'd only done once before, but the pattern like explicitly said about doing the double knitting before you do it. In this one, it just told me to bind off an Italian bind off, so I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then once I came to doing the sleeve, it told me to do the double knitting, so that the edge of the sleeve is a lot nicer than the edge of the body, which I'm not so keen on. I think it would look a lot nicer if it was just thicker, but it's really thin. So yeah, I don't actually wear this one too much either, which is sad. Waste of yarn. Let me just check what yarns I used. So that was knit with Garn Studio Drops Soft Tweed in Off-White, and I actually used 2 different dye lots, which turns out to be totally fine. And then so Off-White and Raven was the colour of the stripes. I think that's the end of like everything that I'm not like wearing right now or is sitting on my bed right now. I also knit the Moby Sweater Man for my brother, which I don't have right now because I gave it to him, and that was for his 30th birthday, and I am planning on knitting a Moby Sweater like woman for myself in like a nice light blue, which I think will be cute. Right now I'm wearing the Camisole number 9 by My Favourite Things knitwear. So I cannot remember what yarn I used, but it was the recommended yarn. It's like knitting for olive something, and I wanted to go for, I think the colour was cream, so this is what I'm wearing right now, is this, I've been wearing it today, so it's not, it's like a little bit like creased and stuff, but that's the top I'm wearing right now. I did the recommended method for the collar and the part like at the sleeve here, where you do sort of this little row of knitting to attach it, which is looks very cute, I think. And I would definitely knit this one again. It didn't take me too long at all. And then let me get the final thing that I have right now. So socks excluded. This is probably my favourite like garment that I've knit. It's this cardigan, it's the Copenhagen cardigan by Petite Knit. I knit it in, let me check, I don't have the yarn. It was Peer Gynt Tin by Sandnes Garn, and I can remember the number of the colour is 1042. That was the main yarn, and then you also knit it with the Sandnes Garn like mohair, which I can't remember what it's called. Is it Kid Silk or something? I can't remember. And I remember that because I remember the number of the main yarn, because I tried to order more and the place sent me like normal Peer Gynt and not the tin one, and the normal one is like way thicker. So yeah, this is like my favourite little thing here. It's got little buttons that you sew on and you create buttonholes, and to be honest, I don't think I did the buttonholes perfectly. I think I might have accidentally done the yarn overs wrong or something. But it's very cute. The buttons probably aren't evenly spaced, but I don't care. I still think it's really nice. And then it's got these little afterthought pockets. So this was the first time I'd ever done something like cut my knitting. So what you do is you go to where you want the opening of your pocket to be, you pick up whatever amount of stitches with your needle, go 2 rows up and then pick up the same amount of stitches, like in the same, you know, line of knitting, and then you cut the row in between and just pull it out, and then you just knit, and then you graft your pocket shut, and then you just tuck it back in and you have a pocket, and then you just, you know, the parts at the edge of the pockets you just have to weave shut. So yeah, very, very scared to do that because I'd never done anything like that before, and the thought of cutting my knitting was absolutely terrifying. But I love this cardigan. I have worn it, I only finished it maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and then I blocked it and had to leave it to dry for a couple of days, and I've worn it like 3 or 4 times since. I've worn it a couple of times to the office and things. I just think it's just really cute, and it's just such a basic little cardigan, but that's what I like. That's what I like to knit, it's just little basic plain colour kind of things. So yeah, that is the end of what I can be bothered to talk about. I definitely do have a few more things, like a few headbands and other socks and stuff that I haven't shown, and like another crop top and stuff, but this video will be far too long. So I suppose right now I'm knitting those socks that I showed earlier for my dad. I got a lot of sock yarn recently. I went to Fine and Dandy Market, which is kind of like a, I don't even know what you would call it, but all different people selling different things come to it, and there was a yarn dyer from actually the next town over from me in Northern Ireland who was at it, and I have been like on her website all the time, just like being like, oh, what should I get, and she was at it, and I ended up getting 3 different hanks of sock yarn. They were 20 quid each, so I am waiting to see what I want to knit with those. So I have my Summerlee book, which I was really excited about, so I definitely have a few patterns in there that I'm going to knit. I'm going to knit with my new yarn. I have a couple of little sock mini, like with a couple of different colours in them that I am going to use. So those are my plans. Finish these socks, move on to another pair of socks for myself. I'm also knitting the Robinia sweater, which maybe I'll show in the next video. I haven't actually started it. I've done my gauge swatch, but I'm focusing on these socks and then I'm going to start it. So the colours I've chosen, I found it really hard to get matching colours. There's 3 different yarns that you hold together, and I found it really hard to get colours that I liked, that I could hold together, that were available for me to buy. So I ended up buying a quite like vibrant pink colour, another kind of more purpley darker one, or it's nearly brown even, and then there was also a mohair strand, which is, whenever I ordered it on the website, it looked a lot more kind of browny purpley, and when it arrived it was nearly orange. So I did my gauge swatch though, and I was like, oof, when I was doing it, and looking at the finished gauge swatch, it does look really nice. So yeah, maybe I'll see where I get with that, and I can show it in the next video. After that, plans are Moby sweater. I want to find myself a really nice Fair Isle sweater to knit, and then I also want to knit my boyfriend a jumper. I've knit him a pair of socks, but I think it's time to face the sweater curse and see what happens. Yeah, those are the plans that I have. Other than that, plans for my own, like, outside of knitting patterns other people have knit. I'm very interested in learning how to create my own sock pattern. So I've been looking at a couple of different things to do with like colour work. If anybody has any recommendations on books for like how to write a knitting pattern, how to write a sock pattern, I know there's like, I want to call it a stitch dictionary, where it has like, oh, if you want to knit a horse, here's like a chart you can use. If you want to knit a butterfly, here's a chart. If you want to knit whatever, here's a chart. And if anybody has any recommendations for things like that, let me know. Or just any tips, let me know as well. I would very much appreciate that. But yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this. I kind of want it to be just like a maybe every couple of weeks I'll upload a video like, oh, here's what I've been knitting, here's what I've been doing. But if anybody has any thoughts about where they want me to go with this channel, let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching. Mwah!